So now I've got this lime on my page, and I'm going to use it as my example, teaching you how to use colored pencils to create some blended shadows. The very first thing that I do is start out with what I call the core color, or you might call it the base color. It's the main color of your object. And I'm going to be coloring maybe a little bit faster than you normally do, so mine might not turn out quite as smooth since I'm holding a camera with one hand and coloring with the other. Makes it a little challenging. I don't recommend you do this most of the time, but I'll do the best that I can to get that laid down pretty quickly for you. As I'm doing this, I often try to color in the direction of the food or the object, kind of in the same way that you see lines on a basketball or a baseball wrapping around the object, and it kind of helps to curve it, make it look a little more 3D. I try to do that with any curved object, even lines. This helps it to look a little bit more natural, a little more believable in the real space. So you don't always see those curved lines, but when you do, they kind of reinforce the round nature of the object. So just about got that done. All right, this is my main color. It's not every color that exists on that lime, but it gives me a good place to start from, a place I can build up all of my other colors. Now, what a lot of kids want to do is they want to jump right to black. They think, oh, shadows are dark, black is dark. If I add black, then that's going to give me a great shadow. And it'll give you a good shadow. In fact, I've got one on the other side here that I've already done with black. And as you can see, it's not too bad. It looks pretty good. In fact, some of the time, you might just get away with using black if you don't have another option. But I'm going to show you another way to do it. I'm going to be using the opposite color, the contrasting color of green. And if you look at the color wheel, you'll see that the color directly opposite of green on the color wheel is red. So I've chosen a color called crimson red, and I'm going to use that along this side where I need a shadow. As I put that down, your first reaction might be, oh man, what is he doing? He's putting red on green. That does not look like a shadow at all. He's just ruined that line. But I want you to consider this. You know that it's red because I told you it's red, and you watched me pick it up, and you're watching me create it. It's a little hard to separate what you know from what you see at the moment. It looks kind of red. But if we back up, it does make that one edge a little darker. Now I can use that red very lightly at the edge of the shadow, let it fade away, and it'll kind of blend in with the lime. Now, if you feel like it's too dark, you can switch back, or too red, you can switch back to the green and layer that green back on. And that will knock back the red color a little bit and deepen the shadow. You see it sort of shifting out of red and back into a little bit of a darker green, just like so. It's looking a little bit more greenish. Now you can still see the red if you look really close. That doesn't bother me, and it doesn't bother a lot of artists. In fact, we often feel like it's a little reward, like a surprise, for the people who take the time to look really close at our work. When they get up close, they spot that red, and it's almost like a little shock, like, oh, wow, I didn't know that that had red in it. So you can build it up layer after layer, and it will make your color darker, but not lose its colorful look. The problem with using black is that black's not actually a color, and when you add something that's not a color to your color, you shift it away from being colorful. Think about drinking Kool-Aid. You got a big pitcher of Kool-Aid, you pour out a nice tall glass, tastes delicious, and then you have some friends come over. more friends than you have enough Kool-Aid for. So you have a choice. You can either make another batch of Kool-Aid, or you can pour some more water into that pitcher. We all know which is going to taste better. By adding the water, you're creating more liquid, but you're not creating more flavor. And that's what happens when you add black. You are darkening your color, but it's not really as colorful because black is not technically a color. Now, while I've been talking, I've been adding in some yellow to this because I felt like the lime had some yellow in it too. When you look at them side by side, you see how they're starting to, excuse me, they're starting to match a little bit more, look a little more similar. I'm going to bring that shadow over a little further so it looks like mine needs a bit more shadow on it. Maybe around there or so. And again, if it feels too dark, too red, shift back, push it back toward green. There are lots of different ways to create colorful shadows with different colors. This is one that works well for me. Here's some other examples that I've done in the past. The orange of the peach gets a little bit of blue in the shadow. On the other side here, we've got a couple different shapes. Got chocolate. The opposite of brown is actually blue, which surprises some people. Orange is brown is a dark orange. So the opposite of orange, again, is blue. And I've got some over here. So you can see adding a little purple to the bottom edge of this yellow pear darkens it, creates a shadow. A little bit of green in the red, which is opposite of what I showed you on the lime, has the same effect. Those opposite colors really can make a difference. So, I hope you give it a try today. I hope you have as much fun with it as I do. Have a good afternoon.